This is why the LGBTQ suburbs are beating the market and what no one's talking about. That's right, folks. Do you know what's outperforming your straight cousin's investment in the suburbs? It's a rainbow. No joke, guys. The LGBTQ plus inclusive neighborhoods are absolutely wrecking the traditional housing market. But not with violence, guys, but with vibes, and really cool vibes. And while the mobs in Canberra keep distracting us with, rate rises and cost of living chaos, these inclusive suburbs I'll be talking about are quietly compounding wealth with pride flags and brunch. Because, guys, I have the insider knowledge because I have a lot of clients in this community. But before you guys watch on, look, I know some of my more conservative or religious clients might be raising their eyebrows at the moment and go, Q, what are you talking about at the moment? But if you guys really know me, I don't judge. Like for me right now, as you know me, a straight shooter, no BS, I don't really care from what race class you're from, what gender class you're from, and whoever you're loving. Because for me, I have a lot of clients in the gay community, and from my personal humble opinion from a lot of these awesome clients, is that they're some of the most loyal and savvy property owners that I've ever worked with. So today, in this episode, we're unpacking why the LGBTQ plus heavy areas like Newtown, Fitzroy, and West End are outperforming the national averages. The economic truth behind cultural inclusivity and real estate value. How this affects young renters, investors, and buyers who think culture is an asset class. And why ignoring all these micro markets might just be your biggest financial mistake when investing as a property investor. Because, guys, whether you like it or not, Australia is a country of inclusivity. I can't even bloody say the goddamn word. But the market is reflecting that. And whether the mobs in Canberra admit it or not, in this video, we're going to talk about how culture can shape a suburb and increase its value astronomically. Firstly, guys, inclusivity isn't just political, it's actually profitable. Let's call it for what it is, but the LGBTQ plus community builds culture, stability, and economic gravity. And according to Domain, suburbs like Newtown in New South Wales, Fitzroy in Victoria, and West End in Queensland, they have seen a staggering 38% capital growth over the past 5 years. And these suburbs are currently outpacing the surrounding regions. To quote Domain Group economist spokesperson, they said, quote, inclusive communities create long-term value, end quote. However, to offer a balanced view, the Counter for Urban Research Institute, they said, quote, these trends are more about gentrification than LGBTQ plus culture, end quote. And guys, this is my take, right? Gentrification didn't just happen, right? It was built off the backs of artists, drag performers, baristas, and same-sex families who actually showed up to these suburbs when no one else wanted to. Like, what I'm trying to say is rainbow real estate walks so the rest of the city can run. And secondly, guys, legal wins spark property booms. What I mean by this? Well, since 2017 legislation of the same-sex marriage in Australia, CoreLogic tracked a notable uptick in first home purchases by same-sex couples, and particularly in those urban hubs. And guys, that's not just a coincidence. Like, this is the formula of growth behind these areas, right? We have legal recognition equals financial security equals property buying confidence. To quote the Queer Rights Network, they said, quote, marriage equality has stabilized LGBTQ plus households, leading to greater investment confidence, end quote. But then to counter that, Conservative Housing Analysis Association says, quote, there's no direct data showing correlation, end quote. Like, yeah, you bloody conservatives, if you don't ask on the forums and people don't fill it out, yeah, it doesn't exist. But let me tell you guys, real brokers like me, the street brokers, I've been seeing this trend for the past 5 years, and a lot of my investor clients have been capitalizing on this, and most of them are straight. This is how massive capital growth is built into these suburbs. Thirdly, guys, the rainbow dollar effect. Yes, let me explain this. Because, guys, here's the truth the media dances around, right? The LGBTQ plus communities, they actually spend more locally. And I'm telling you, they raise suburb vibes like there's no tomorrow. And most of my clients from this community are killing it. They're crushing it in the property market. They are the most analytical, crazy property investors I've ever known. And I'll back this up by data. According to 2020 McCrindle report, they found that the LGBTQ plus households were 28% more likely to spend on local services and small businesses compared to a national average. And guys, this is the formula, right? More economic energy equals more job growth equals more buyer demand equals higher house prices. I mean, to quote the economist Sol Estake, he says, quote, the economic vitality in LGBTQ plus enclaves create a compounded growth loop, end quote. But again, to offer a more balanced view, according to Real Estate Risk Watch, They say, quote, spending patterns don't always translate into real estate returns, end quote. And guys, here's my savage take, right? This isn't a spending pattern. It's a community-led compounding engine. And again, guys, for my traditional viewers out there who faithfully watch this channel every week, this isn't about pushing an agenda, right? I don't have a, gay pride or whatever agenda that you think I have, right? I'm talking about thinking like a cold, hard investor, right? You have a bucket of cold ice, you dipped it into your drain, you're like, I'm purely driven by data. This video is about understanding where the money is going. And right now, I'm just showing you the truth behind the numbers that no one talks about. And fourthly, guys, how to spot the next inclusive growth pocket before it booms. This is the part that you're waiting for. So guys, here's the tips. I'm going to throw this on the board. Firstly, look for fringe suburbs near CBDs with a growing arts or creative scene. If you don't know where it is, grab a gay mate and ask them. They would know for sure. Number 2, look for safe nightlife. Number 3, look for progressive councils. Even if the mobs in Canberra are stuck in 1955, there are some councils that are very progressive. And to add on top of this checklist, in this area, they would have to have at least one decent LGBTQ plus friendly bookshop, cafe, or weekly drag bingo, right? Like, for example, I live around Sydney, like in Newtown, they had this in 2005. And then in Victoria, I think my client told me, and Fitzroy had it in 2010, something like that. But look for those type of activities in that suburb. Like, what I'm trying to say to you guys is be vigilant. Don't just get clouded with your biased conservative eyes, right? Look at the data. I'm telling you right now, write this down. The rainbow comes before the pot of gold, right? There's a bit of truth in that, right? Like right now, let me quote the Property Data Lab. They said, quote, inclusive community markers predict long-term capital growth, end quote. But then the naysayers say, for example, Suburban Planning Coalition, they said, quote, niche cultural trends don't scale, end quote. Like, yeah, Suburban Planning Coalition, tell that to my clients who experienced a 200% growth in Sydney's inner west from 2010 to 2022. So right now, let me take a back seat and let's go for the roast. Let's be honest, guys. The mobs in Canberra, they like to talk about productivity, GDP, and infrastructure change. But what they don't want to admit is that culture, like I'm talking about inclusive culture. This is the engine behind driving growth in a suburb. The people that go into that community brings up the value. If you don't believe me, look at Bankstown, look at Blacktown. Who's living there at the moment? Crime, 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 crime. In the last 6 months, the value has dropped by 5%. And I know most of you guys will counter and go, well, Q, the banks still don't factor belonging into their valuation models. Yeah, I know. But people who live there drive the market value of that house. It's very subjective. For example, in the last 3 months in that suburb, those average houses that were sold 6 months ago, for example, $1 million. But in the last 3 months, the average house was sold for $1.5 million. There's a 500k uptake in the last 6 months. Who decides that? The people who are selling those goddamn properties there. And on top of that, those people who are selling, there's also people who are willing to buy those goddamn properties, right? So I'm telling you guys, don't discriminate culture, don't discriminate people when you're trying to buy in a certain suburb. And all the meanwhile of this, the LGBTQ friendly suburbs and neighborhoods keep generating demand, raising prices, and building economic resilience in a housing market that's otherwise eating itself. So guys, this is my closing perspective. If you're an investor or a first home buyer and you're ignoring inclusive suburbs, you're not just missing out on community. You're missing out on one of the most strongest predictive signals for long-term capital growth in this country. And I'm telling you guys, the data's clear, the culture's real, and the returns, man, they're banging, compounding. So if you guys want to know more about this, I recommend you book a 50-minute strategy call or a 60-minute deep dive with me for me to build a holistic lending solution where I'll pair you with my accountants, my financial planners, and my A-game property buyers agents for you to build a property portfolio to end the generational curse in your family and build generational wealth. But all in all, guys, I want to repeat again because you guys will always book these goddamn calls and then ask me for financial advice. I cannot give you financial advice. I can give you your lending power and I can hook you up with my mates who are more savvy in financial advice. But again, guys, I'm already booked out in July. In August, I'm coming again, booked out again. So be quick, book me right now if you want to have a chat. But if you're not ready, just hit the like button, hit the follow button, and smash the share button. Share this to your mate because knowledge is power. And again, thank you for watching another episode of That Property Roast, and I'll see you in the next few days.